Yields back. Does any other member seek recognition? Mr. Langworthy, is he still wanting to debate on the bill? I know we can debate.
However you.
Chair recognizes Mr. Langworthy for 5 minutes. And then we'll get into amendments if everybody's okay with that.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The issue of free speech and government interference in big tech is one of the most important topics of our time. Free speech is essential to the functioning of any democracy. It allows us to express our opinions, share information, and engage in meaningful dialogue. And without it, we cannot hold our governments accountable, challenge injustice, or promote any progress. Unfortunately, in recent years, there have been a justified and growing concerns over the influence of big tech companies on free speech. And millions of Americans have felt big tech's wrath, and many others have witnessed the overwhelming power and control that these companies hold. Only a few weeks ago, we heard in this very room from Twitter executives who were not just willing but eager to follow the demands of government officials and censor fact-based New York Post reporting. We heard Twitter executives admit that they took orders from officials to censor speech, remove high-profile accounts, and actively violate the American people's right to free speech. The eagerness of government officials and big tech executives to come together and to alter the course of what should have been a free and fair election in 2020 is obscene and can no longer be tolerated. And as it stands, federal government has all of the power in the world to demand that big tech censor voices it does not support. New Yorkers and Americans from every corner of our country are demanding oversight and accountability over the federal government's blatant collusion with big tech to censor the voices of Americans. Free speech is the cornerstone of any democracy, and we must protect it at all costs, whether it is threatened by big tech, government interference, or the two colluding together. The current administration under President Biden has been accused of undermining the First Amendment rights of Americans by using its influence to pressure social media companies to censor specific viewpoints on their platforms. Government officials have worked hand in hand with big tech to label factual information as disinformation and to urge social media platforms to remove that content. To safeguard the First Amendment, the Oversight Committee will evaluate proposed legislation that both prohibits the federal government from exerting overwhelming pressure on social media companies to silence individuals expressing their opinions online. This legislation is long overdue, and I am proud to be working with my colleagues to end censorship of the American people. I yield back.
Gentleman yields back.